collaborative technology leader with extensive experience in building and leading high-performance teams. Born and brought up in Hyderabad and moved to the US, she has 27 years of experience. She specializes in delivering B2C and B2B products, driving transformational growth through advanced technologies such as AI and cloud migration. Currently serving as an engineering growth manager at Intuit, Jyothi spearheads initiatives in accounting automation, leveraging AI to enhance accuracy and efficiency for millions of businesses globally. With a proven track record of launching 0 to 1 products, championing cross-functional collaboration, and fostering team excellence, Jyoti combines technical expertise with strategic vision to drive impactful results. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the kind words. Um, can we get started? I think we have the quorum. Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Yeah, I can hear you a little bit. I'm guessing you all said we're all doing good. Um, Thank you for joining me today. I'm joining you all from sunny California. Thank you for deciding to spend your Monday with me. I know it's a tough choice. You could have been hanging out with your friends at the cafeteria, but thank you for joining me. Let's get started. Let me know if you can see my screens. Good? Okay, awesome. Let me tell you. Okay, awesome.
Can see your screen.
Thank you, sir. Um, let me tell a little bit about myself. Like somebody earlier mentioned, I was born and brought up in Hyderabad. I moved to California around 20 some years ago, 24 to be exact. I primarily work in the health and financial tech organizations. Most of my career was spent in the health tech area, creating medical apps, and then later on moved on to the fintech area in the mortgage industry world, and now currently working with QuickBooks. I moved into management, accidentally stumbled into management, but I moved into a leadership role around 15 years ago. Initially, a lot of learnings, but then I fell in love with management. And here I am after 15 years, still managing and enjoying it. I know you would be thinking I'm in sunny California. The weather is awesome. I'm sipping tea on the beach, but it's pretty cold out here. I don't know if you heard about Mark Twain once said that the coldest winter he spent was the summer in San Francisco. And people who have visited here probably can vouch for it. It's pretty cold out here, even in summer. But I fell in love with the culture here and, of course, the innovation. This is the center of innovation, birthplace of many things. Most recently, the OpenAI. And, of course, I love the avocado toast. So let's keep going. When Anil sir and I talked about this session, I had a million ideas swirling in my head. But I decided, let me focus on a few things instead of going everything under the sky. Let me focus on the few things that are really close to my heart. A couple of things are DEI, belonging to a minority group of people. I have always felt very close to this topic. DEI, which stands for the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And of course, then the AI, which is the hottest topic in tech and job market right now. You're all probably thinking or learning or doing something about AI or using it in your daily life. So I thought, how about combine DEI and AI a little bit? And I'll also spend some time towards the end talking about some lessons and tips that helped me in my career to move forward and progress. So without much further ado, let's dive right into the first topic, which is the AI and DEI. So I'm guessing most of you are business majors, doing business major, and some of you will go out and join the workforce of some MNCs. Some of you will decide that, oh, I'm going to start off my own venture, and some of you might actually come back and teach, right? And no matter which path you take, no matter you go join a company, start your own company, or teach, you'll be using AI. And whether you realize it or not, you will be shaping and creating a culture of your own and the culture influencing the culture that you work in. The business world is ever evolving, and companies that embrace DEI and AI together are going to stand out. No doubt they're going to stand out, and they're going to be more innovative and more competitive and more profitable in the coming world. Sorry, I know I tend to go a little bit faster, so please, Anil sir, do stop me if I'm going too fast. I will slow it down for my audience. I know I'm not in person there, but please let me know if I'm going too fast. Okay. So let's talk about DEI. I'm guessing most of you already know DEI. How many of you actually know about DEI? Can you raise your hands? And if somebody can tell me how many of the group has raised their hands, that'd be great. I can't see it. How many have heard about DEI?
Maybe around 5 to 10, Jyothi.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's not so many, but it's a handful. So let me dig in a little bit and tell you what it means and what these terms are. They get thrown around a lot in the industry. You talk to any MNCs or talk to any HR, they throw these words around. DEI is most spoken word, and since George Floyd in the US, it's probably the most influential thing that we've had. I like to explain, because most of you have not heard about it. I like to explain it in the terms of party analogy. This is coined by somebody called Verna Myers. She was instrumental bringing in DEI programs at Netflix, and she's a brilliant speaker, and she's a DEI expert. So I like to explain it in the party analogy so that we can all understand. Let me go over it. The first part, DEI, D is for diversity. Diversity is something like when you get invited to the party, right? Imagine you're throwing a big party and you invite people from different backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives. Diversity is like having a team member who comes from different various walks of life. Diversity is when you have team members who don't always look like you and think like you. Diversity is creating a space where you can get diverse opinions and can look at a problem or a product you're building from all different angles. Going back to the party analogy, your guest list is diverse. So let's say you invited a lot of people, they look different, they are different walks of life. That's great. But is that enough? Does that automatically mean everyone is having a good time? Not necessarily, right? This is just the first step. So that's where the second piece in the puzzle comes in, which is the equity. Equity is taking it a little step further. Equity in the party analogy, if you take the party analogy, is making sure everyone can get to the party. If diversity was inviting everyone to the party, equity is saying, let's now get everyone into the party. It's not just about assembling a diverse team. It's about making sure that every individual has what they need to contribute meaningfully. That's what equity means. Um, so it's how can you say this? If diversity is inviting different voices to the room, let's say you have a group, class full of students, but equity is making sure each one of them actually has a microphone and has the support they need to be heard. That's what equity is. This is a really fine line. Then comes the third piece in the puzzle. The third piece in the puzzle is inclusion. So diversity is you invited everybody to the party. Equity is you made sure that they all attended the party. Now comes the inclusion. Inclusion is when everyone at the table in the room is being asked to dance, right? Inclusion ensures that once these diverse perspectives are in the room and all the tools that they need are given, they are now valued and respected and empowered by listening to their opinions. That's what inclusion is. It's about fostering an environment where people feel safe, where they can share their ideas without fear, or being dismissed or overlooked or penalized. A company can hire a diverse group of employees, but if they don't give the opportunities that are not fair and people don't feel heard or valued, then there is no real diversity at the company. So all of you as future leaders, and some of you are going to go and become entrepreneurs and change makers, your job is just to invite people to the party. Remember, it's to make sure they have a way to get there. They feel included, and most importantly, get a chance to dance. I hope after this, you all have a little bit of understanding of what DEI means. And when I ask next time, everybody raises their hand. Um, so you might be wondering, I mean, every you're all going into workforce. You have many things to worry about when you go into work every day. Why should I worry about DEI? Why should DEI be my priority? Why invest time and resources in it when there are so many other things, so many other pressing business demands? So let me walk you through what actually diversity does to a company or brings it. First and foremost, studies show that diversity fuels innovation. What I mean by innovation? So as we talked about the party analogy, there when you invite more people, when you invite diverse background people into your party, the conversations vary. You're getting different perspectives. So when you're building a product, when you have so many wide walks of life people coming into the room and providing ideas, you build better product. Diverse teams can approach challenges from multiple angles, leading to more creative solutions and better decision making. I think there's a Harvard Business Review study that actually was published. I can send the references, but they say the diverse companies are about 70% more likely to capture new markets just because the team that they have actually knows about the market better than if they had a team that doesn't understand the market. The second one is it leads to better financial performance. Companies with diverse teams have higher revenue and profitability. Again, this is hands down studies, multiple studies that were done. And one of the McKinsey studies says if your executive team has a diverse in gender diversity, specifically it was done on gender diversity, there is 25% more likely to experience above average profitability. And Salesforce also had a study with their internal workforce that they had a 25% increase in innovation and also performance metrics after implementing their DEI programs at Salesforce. So it fuels innovation, it leads to better financial performance, and then it also increases employee satisfaction. This is the number one thing. I know the biggest thing when you're in management, especially in people management, is the worry that how are you going to retain people? Retention, attrition, all of these become very important. And studies studies show that when you have diverse team of people, when everybody gets a voice, everybody gets a chance at the table, it increases the employee satisfaction and retention. Yeah, I think it's a Deloitte study that was done, and J&J, Johnson & Johnson, also had a DEI program that actually revealed that diverse members achieved about 35% greater financial returns and also had a 10% increase in their employee retention. So it hands down a diverse team fuels innovation, leads to better financial performances, and increases employee satisfaction and retention. So now that we know the, you might ask me, okay, yeah, I understand the I understand diversity drives morale, it drives innovation, it even drives financial success. But where does AI fit into the equation? Before I go there, I mean, just like the show of hands, like we did the DEI show of hands, I want to hear how many of you actually know what AI is and how many of you use AI on your day-to-day stuff. A show of hands. I think a lot more hands than the DEI for sure. I see a lot more hands than DEI, which is amazing. That's great. That's great. I mean, you're up to speed with technology. I love AI. I work with AI every day. So awesome to see the hands. But let's do a simple refresher for people who, again, we are doing DI to make sure everybody's inclusive. Let's walk through, do a simple, very fast refresher of AI. AI, which stands for artificial intelligence, typically it's what computer systems are programmed to do and perform tasks that typically we humans or human intelligence does. These tasks can be recognizing patterns, making decisions, or learning from the existing data. We use AI every day. We've been using it for a while now in your smart home speaker, Siri, Alexa, or the recommendations that you get on Netflix, the recommendations are the movie recommendations you get on Netflix, or the shopping recommendations you get on your favorite shopping website, Amazon, or anything else. All those are powered by AI in the background. So there are three types of AI. I'll give you a quick gist of what these are. The first one is the traditional AI. This is a simple rule-based AI. It follows some predefined rules and logic. Typically, we use a good example would be a chatbot. So when you type a question, it is a natural language processor that's happening in the background. It analyzes the human input, interprets what the intent of the question or the chat is, and then generates appropriate response. But these responses are really based on some predefined rules. Like mostly customer support teams use this, and that's the traditional AI. It's still in use. People love it. And then comes the machine learning. This one learns from the existing data and continues to learn from the new data that comes in, and it improves over time. The examples, again, the movie recommendations, if you have changed your what you watch, it learns from that and it starts recommending new recommendations. Product recommendations works the same way. And the biggest one, I think, with the machine learning thing is the fraud detection that I'm aware of, that I've been using. And we also use it a lot in QuickBooks to predict what the bookkeeping is going to be like and how to increase the speeds in the bookkeeping. Then comes the thing that everybody's favorite nowadays, which is the generative AI. It took everybody by storm in 2021. As you all know, this is the form of the AI you all are aware of and have been using. If you've been using, I mean, if you've used ChatGPT or Claude or anything else that is generative AI. This is the type of AI that creates new content. Let me just go water, please. It creates new content like text, images. If you can see, most of my images on my presentation are Dolly generated images. They are ChatGPT. I have a ChatGPT. I can survive without ChatGPT. Those are all generated by ChatGPT. I just tell it this is what I want, and it generates it. So this is generating new content, and it also helps people improve productivity in many ways. How can I apply AI in DEI? I think that's the biggest thing, right? I mean, this whole the reason why we are looking at this is how can I use AI? The first and foremost I want to tell you is AI is a tool. AI is a framework. AI is a tool. AI is not replacing us. AI is going to be an enabler for us to do anything, right? So with what we know of AI, the DEI efforts can, and also knowing that the DEI effort can boost outcomes, AI can be leveraged to scale or to track and to improve your DI initiatives. Traditionally, for DI initiatives, everything was done manually. And there was no measures you could put in automatically. and AI is going to help. Let's walk through a few of the things where AI can actually help us, truly help us. Um, it can help us reduce bias in hiring and promotions. Um, as humans, as human beings, we're all biased. You look at a resume, you unintentionally would put them in one bucket or the other bucket. Using tools, AI tools or software that has AI driven software, you can decrease those human biases by focusing on the actual skills and qualifications rather than the names or the backgrounds or the gender. Of course, there is a concept of ethical AI and responsible AI, which I'll touch upon a little bit later, because these AI tools are also written by humans, making sure that you need to add a human in the loop to make sure that you're not, your AI itself is not biased, obviously, but I think AI can use for that. It can also analyze the promotion trends. I mean, is your company promoting the same kind of people all the time? Are you promoting a biased promotion process at your company? You can analyze those trends and you can ensure equitable career growth across different demographics and different types of groups of people. There are a lot of hiring platforms out there today that actually gamify your assessments so that you can not have the unconscious biases, and you uh, do the assessment in a way that you're not biased. This next thing that AI tool can do is enhancing your employee experience and engagement. As some of you go into the workforce, and all of you who are already in the workforce, that there's an ongoing educational element of your work, right? Um, and then there is surveys that every company does. So AI powered sentiment analysis can measure employee feedback to detect if there were any practices that are not DEI specific, any practices, or identify at-risk employees who are not happy or are feeling not feeling included, and don't have that psychological safety over there. AI-driven chatbots can also provide inclusive support for employees answering DEI-related queries or reporting concerns anonymously. And then there are platforms, AI learning platforms that can actually help you fill the skill gaps. Like I said, right? The second part, which is equity. Equity is making sure that everybody can come to the party, right? Not just invited, but come to the party. To come to the party, somebody might need a car, somebody might need an Uber ride. Uh, all of that. Some in technology, if you consider in technology, somebody might need some learning lessons, or somebody might need a tutoring session. All of that can be done by the AI-driven learning platforms. They can help you close the skill gaps for underrepresented employees. But then with all of these AI tools, you can also start tracking and measuring your inclusive efforts. It can analyze your workforce data to detect the pay gaps. I think the biggest thing that DEI brought to the front is the pay gap, um, or the representation of disparities, and any other DEI concerns that might be there. AI-powered diversity dashboards. A lot of both the companies that I work for in the past few years had diversity dashboards that were available for the whole company to take a look at what the company is doing and how we are trending. And if the group of people, the employees and the peers that I work with belong to a diverse group of people. It can also help data-driven decisions and other DEI initiatives that we might take. There are other companies. There are a lot of companies out there that actually help you the job postings that you do to make sure they're not biased language. They're not using any biased language. So there are a ton of AI tools out there, if you start exploring, that'll actually help you to make sure you're following the path towards the right DEI initiatives. And then last but not least, improving accessibility and inclusion. AI-driven accessibility, it can be like, I mean, I don't know if we have the captioning enabled, but real-time captioning, voice recognition, or text-to-speech kind of thing can help employees with disabilities. DEI is not just color of your skin or which minority group you belong to, but it's also big about the disability, a group of disabilities. Disabilities can participate fully in the workplace. You need to make sure you have all the tools available for them, and they feel included. So we have talked a lot about about AI. With any new technology, with any new powerful tool, there comes risks, right? I think can you use everything out of the box? You probably may not use everything out of the box, right? There are risks involved. Um, AI models, as we saw, all three models actually rely on historical data. The rule-based one less so, but it also some human has written it, right? So all models actually rely on historical data. The data itself can be biased, which can lead to unfair hiring or unfair promotions or unfair pay decisions. Um, a good example that everyone quotes is Amazon had this AI hiring tool that they had written, which was favoring actually male candidates over female candidates due to the biased historical data that they fed into their AI tool, and they had to scrap it. So you have to be really careful and have to have some checks and balances and have that human in the loop to make sure that the AI tools you're using or the AI recommendations you're getting for any of your DEI initiatives are valid. So you need to make sure that you're following the ethical AI rules and responsible AI rules. Some of the ways to mitigate those risks are to make sure that you have diverse data sets. The data that goes into the AI to reduce the bias, you can have diverse data sets. You can implement human oversight, like I mentioned. AI should support decisions, but actually not replace us or replace our human judgment. You can also have some audit systems put in place, continuously audit the AI systems so that they are not generating any biased or unintended consequences. You should encourage psychological safety within your team and employees when they see that their AI decisions are not the right decisions. They are feeling safe to question it and also are able to flag the biases. Um, Measure what matters. Don't measure everything. Measure what matters. Track not just the diversity numbers, the experiences, the inclusion experiences. How are your employees feeling? What is the sentiment? That actually will help you with the retention and the attrition rates. And last but not least, AI and leadership must align. Leaders must use AI insights to drive meaningful DEI actions, but not just surface level diversity hiring quotas. I mean, if you do that, any policy change would actually say, okay, I'm not going to do the DEI anymore, versus you believing in DEI. There are two different things. Don't do it for the numbers, I guess. To close on that thought, right? AI is only as fair as the data and people behind it. We all know that ethical AI and strong DI initiatives go hand in hand. As business students, you should all be thinking AI is not just a technical tool, but as a strategic enabler for better workplaces that you are going to build or you're going to go and work. I'll give a 2-minute break. I think that was my first chapter. I don't know how you folks are feeling. And Anil sir, I can take questions now, or I can take questions towards the end when I do the other part also.
Jyothi, I have a couple of questions myself.
Yeah, of course. Please go ahead.
This fraud detection, the fraud detection you talked about,
Yeah.
is getting a lot of traction in India also.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, yeah.
We are getting a lot of job positions in fraud detection and legal writing. Ca- Mic is not working.
I can hear you.
No, I think they're trying to figure it out for the audience.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's working now, Jyoti. So we are getting a lot of job openings for fraud detection and legal writing. So you said you are experienced in machine learning, and using machine learning, how is this fraud detection taking place, and what sort of tools should our students take or learn to get into fraud detection, especially fraud detection and legal writing? That's where we are getting job openings.
Yeah, I think we can, I can send some references out, but how machine learning fraud detection works is we feed a large amounts of data, and the previous how something has been resolved or detected, and based on that it starts making decisions, and as we correct it and as we feed more data, and during these process as you're detecting the fraud, machine learning, that sits in the second part, right? It keeps learning new things. Okay, there was, for example, if there was a check with the wrong um, name written on it, right, and it is flagged as a incorrect one, your system is going to learn, and even though originally it was not marked or flagged, as you feed more data into it, it starts learning and evolving, and no new programming is needed, but it is written such that as new data comes in, as new data flows in, it's reiterating on the model that was built, and it will start learning and it'll start flagging. So that's how it's written. I mean, there's a lot of tools out there. It's a big thing, and it's not an easy thing to solve, right? I think Gen AI, actually with generative AI, one thing I noticed is it has changed. The landscape has tremendously changed. Previously, machine learning, fraud detection, all of this was very proprietary, right? I mean, if you have a big Chase bank, or if you have a um, uh, big financial firm, they have their own proprietary algorithms that will do the machine learning and figure out fraud. With Gen AI, what I've noted with all of these LLMs, large language models that have come out, they have a humongous billion amount of data that they already know. So if you feed chat gpt kind of llm to say, okay, I have a check that came in with this amount, and this is the vendor, and this is the date, and I don't have and you feed an extra date of invoices or price or your anything, it will be able to flag. So it is become easier and easier to detect any of these. But yeah, there are algorithms written specifically for bank fraud or specific wire fraud, all of that mostly are proprietary machine language models.
Jyoti, I got a question that might put you on a hot seat. So I don't know how you'll react to it. The first thing that Donald Trump did was when he came back to power is was sign a executive order which sent all his DI team on a paid vacation. So how does it reflect? Because you're talking DI and US big economy that everybody looks into, and your own president has sent all the DI team on a paid leave.
Like I said in my previous one, if there is a company that's doing at a surface level diversity to just meet a hiring quota, or just show a number, and do not believe in it, and do not organically believe in and want to do DEI is not going to exist. It's I mean, studies again and again show that when you have a group of people who think differently, who don't look same, who are coming from various backgrounds, different backgrounds. You can look at our own classroom, right? When you look at a classroom full of people, if you all look alike, if you all think alike, if you all come from the same social background, the output is totally different from when you have people from different social backgrounds, if you have people from different economic backgrounds, if you are thinking different, you're culturally different. It just, the richness they all bring to the table is just mind boggling. So policies can change, beliefs can change. Somebody can come into power and say, okay, this is my belief, this is my policy. But as a company, as an individual, if you do not believe in it, it's not gonna work. So the companies, I mean, whatever our president is doing, if the company does not never believed in it and was just doing it for numbers, it's not going to work out. I mean, and but if they organically believe in it, I think they're going to withstand. And it's a cycle. Every 4 years we get a new president, hopefully. And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
you
this
did
is
put me on
again,
a hot seat. You did put me on a hot seat.
yeah, I
Thank
know,
you.
I know, I know, I know. So I'm sorry for it.
No,
Actually,
that's
just
okay.
some
No.
statistics I dug up when you're giving your lecture. It's nice to say diversity, equity, inclusiveness. According to the Google, in the United States, women are underrepresented in CEO positions, making up a small percentage of CEOs. I'm talking about the glass ceiling. In 2023, women held 30.6% of the CEO positions only. When it comes to S&P Global's 1500 best companies, it drops down to 5.1%. And in the Fortune 500, it dropped. It is almost the same, 5.4. So how do you react to this glass ceiling effect?
It's very sad. That's what I would say. And that is the reason why we need the DEI efforts, right? I think again, going back to the equity thing, I mean, we are not all starting off the race on the fair playing ground. It's we've decades of underrepresentation, and to get to the same percentage as others, it's going to take us a long time. And that long time should be supported by all of these programs that we are talking about, having the right kind of allies, right kind of support system, right kind of training and learning paths that are there, pushing our younger generations in schools to making sure our young female the kids who are in school right now actually focus on STEM and make sure they are supported and they don't get demotivated with what's happening around, is what we have to do. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if US is at the bottom. I don't have the numbers, but if a US is actually at the bottom of the list of where the
You're
diversity
correct.
is.
Norway, Sweden are doing better. Norway,
Yeah,
Sweden, Finland, the
yeah.
Scandinavian countries are doing better than US.
I mean, as an Indian born American citizen right now, but as an Indian born, I'm very proud of India that we had in female prime ministers way before US even will probably have it ever. I don't know. Yeah.
So you want to take it to a minute break or we'll continue?
No, we can move ahead if no one has. I mean, I'll have
Yeah.
some time towards the end also for Q&A. So.
So maybe we can continue with the next one, and again at the end we'll have Q&A from the students.
Yeah. Awesome.
Is that
Sounds
fine?
good. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Cool. Let me just grab a sip of water. I hope you folks have more questions in this segment. The last segment is probably a little bit of it's a hit or miss sometimes with my audience. So let's see. So as I mentioned earlier, I've been in the US about 20 some years, but I've been in the industry, in the technology industry for about 26, 27 years. um, initially as a programmer, and then stumbled into management. And I thought I can bring some of the things that really help me in my career and continuously help me in everyday things. And hopefully you can take some tips back and hone in on them and go and polish them, and how they will help you in your career on finding your next job or finding whatever you're looking for. Let's dive right in. The first thing, you're all in school still. So I think this is one thing. Give your 100% while you're at school. So reality check, right? When you graduate and start interviewing, the hiring managers don't know anything about you. They haven't seen you work. They don't know your grit, and they don't know what your potential is. They only have very few data points, right? Your resume, how you write your resume, your grades, and the very short interview window that they have to assess you, like a 2 to 4 hour window. So your grades are not just numbers. They actually signal your discipline, your ability to follow through, and your commitment to something you have signed up for. So while you're at school, give it your best, not for the grades themselves, but for what they represent. Your ability to show up, your ability to work hard, and your ability to push hard and push yourself. I have interviewed hundreds of candidates. I've in my last 15, 16 years as management, and as originally as an engineer, I've interviewed hundreds of candidates. It's very hard to assess a candidate in 2, 3 hours, right? You're always risking, you're taking a risk when you hire a candidate. The thing that I look at is not what type of university you went to. Did you go to the best of the best university? That's not what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at, what are your grades? The grades tell me you had the discipline, you had that push, nudge to push yourself to make it happen, and you gave it your 100%. So give your 100% while at school. I wish somebody told me that. Um, the next thing that really, really helped me in my career and in my personal life is finding your tribe. This is very, very important. Find your tribe. Success is never, never a solo journey. No one thrives in isolation. Find the people who can challenge you, find the people who can support you, and they can help you grow. You can have peers who push you to become better. You can have mentors who guide you through tough decisions. You can have allies who are willing to give you honest feedback, honest feedback. So surround yourself with people who help you level up and become a better person. The best careers are not built alone. They are built with a tribe. So find your tribe. So don't do the mistake I did. Never put your teenage son or daughter or teenage sibling in your tribe. They are too critical of you. That's what I learned. But find your tribe. The next one is this again, this one I think everyone has us to don't let that inner voice take over. I think this is the biggest thing I struggled with, and I it's an ongoing struggle I have, and I fight it every single day. Um, Everyone has the inner voice. I mean, if I say show of hands, I'm guessing 100% of you will raise your hand. And you know what that inner voice says, right? The one that questions everything about it. Should I raise my hand? Should I speak up? What if I sound stupid? That voice isn't your enemy though, but it shouldn't be your master either. Learn how to manage it. Instead of letting it hold you back, use it to refine your thinking. Fear is natural, everybody has it, but action is what moves you forward. So take that risk, speak up, don't listen to the voice. The next one, again, this probably you already do, everyone do, be agile. Agile is, the best careers and the best professionals are not rigid. Things don't always go as planned. You will fail at something, you'll make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I make mistakes, you make mistakes. You will have setbacks. The key is to fail fast. The key is to learn quickly, and the key is to adjust. Be flexible in your approach and resilient in your mindset. It's not about never failing. That'd be funny if somebody said, "Oh, I never fail. I'm always successful." It's not about never failing. It's about how quickly you can get back up and get back on the path. So be agile. This one, I think you all know. Prepare, prepare, and prepare. If you have looked at my original version of my slideshow, it doesn't look anything like this. Okay, prepare, prepare, prepare. When it's time for an interview, prepare. Preparation is everything. Don't wing it. Don't ever wing it. Research, if you're going to a company for an interview, research about the company, understand what their mission is, and be ready to showcase your skills. See how your skills are going to fit the job description. Make sure you read the room when you're in the interview. Prepare for what they're going to ask you. Prepare based on what the job description says. The same thing after you find, right? So never walk into being unprepared. I think I'm getting a echo, but the people who succeed aren't always the smartest in the room, but they are often the ones who are the most prepared. So prepare. Never underestimate the preparation you have to do. Always go prepared. And last but not the least, believe in yourself. Once you have put in the work that you did, and you have to own it. When you land that job, when you sit at that table, when you're making decisions, believe that you belong there. It ties back to the DEI we talked about, right? Believe that you belong there. You earned it and you worked at it and you're there. And now it's your time to contribute, to innovate, and to make an impact. Self-doubt is normal. Everybody has it. But don't let it stop you from taking your seat at the table. I think that was my last slide. So I just wanted to say before I jump into the Q&A, let me just thank open up the floor for questions. First of all, thank you all for coming and joining me on the webinar today. I know you probably have a million other things that are on your mind. And thanks to ICBM for creating this space for all these amazing students where they can all come, learn, and thrive. And thanks to Professor Zarar sir, Dr. Ritu Zarar madam, Professor Jitendra Govindani sir, and Dr. Anil Ramesh sir for giving me this opportunity to present something which is very, very close to my heart. Thank you so much. I can take questions if any.
Okay, students, the floor is open for questions. Anyone who has any questions?
Ask me about anything. Any questions except Trump and how he's gonna rule. Ask me any questions.
Guys, any questions?
Hi, ma'am. My name is Mohammed Azul. So there are two perspectives. That is, some people are getting benefited as it is making things simpler. AI is making things simpler and easier, and some people consider it as a threat. And we also watch movies where robots are ruling humans. So how do you react to the growth of AI, and at what level it should be stopped?
I couldn't hear the first part of your question. Or can somebody type in the chat maybe? Or
I'll repeat it now.
yeah, I'm able to hear you now.
So there are two perspectives. That is, some people are getting benefited by the AI as it is making things easier and easier. And some people consider it as a threat.
Okay.
So how do you react to the growth of AI, and at what level it should be stopped?
Okay, got it. Thank you. So the question, just to make sure I have your question right, you said some folks believe that there's benefits of AI. Some folks feel that there's a threat with AI. How do I react to those, and how do I stop the growth of AI? Is that the right question?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Amazing question, by the way. I think whenever there's a new technology that comes, right, there's always this fear attached to the technology, because especially when it's disruptive as AI is, there's always this fear. And it happened with internet. It probably happened when the telephone was invented. It probably happened when electricity was invented. Okay. It is Gen AI, and AI is as disruptive as what electricity was at some point of time, or telephone was, or internet was. But if you step back from the fear aspect of it, right, and if you think about what AI can do, if you forget that AI is going to take away the jobs, and if you start thinking as AI is your enabler, like I mentioned, right, you look at it from a different perspective. Um, what AI can do. Look at what AI can do to education. Look at what AI can do to programming, right? My productivity, my team's productivity is at least a tenfold higher with the AI tools that they have. Does that mean that my team is going to disappear tomorrow? No. Does that mean my team is going to get better tomorrow? Yes, obviously. So there are two sides to the coin, right? Two faces to the coin every anytime. You can either look at it in a positive perspective, or you can look at it with fear. Like I said, AI is not going to, I mean, being in the industry and using AI, I don't think AI is going to replace humans. AI is going to be a companion to the humans. If you start looking at it that way, you don't treat it as a threat. You treat it as another tool, another innovative thing that pops up that you want to learn, right? And the second thing is, innovation happens. We are evolving as humans. We are actually creating new things. And the biggest success we owe it to ourselves to adapt, to grow, and to move forward. And that's what it is. I mean, as humans, we're going to evolve. We're going to create new technologies. There's going to be a different technology than AI tomorrow, but we got to adapt. Don't see it as a threat. As long as you see it as a threat, there's going to be a fear. I don't think anyone should stop AI. So there is no way you want to stop AI. What you want to do is you want to create boundaries. You want to create the right ethical boundaries. You want to create the right responsible boundaries around AI, that what we are creating is not going to become a monster versus it's going to become an enabler to us. I hope I answered your question. I hope that that addresses it.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thanks for asking the question.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning. My name is Prasanna. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you, Prasanna. Go ahead.
So, ma'am, currently you have given us many insights from your career. Thank you so much for that. And like currently we are going through internship. Like you can just tell anything like what kind of skills we have to showcase to get into the internship, and also after getting into the internship, what makes us to get in PQ.
See, if I understand question correctly, if you are currently doing an internship, what kind of skills you have to showcase in your internship and when you as you go into your interviews, right? One thing I can thanks for the question, Prasanna. One thing I can tell is based on my experience and based on the interviews that I've done or being on the other side of the table when I was being interviewed. Few things I can say is your grades are important, right? But internship and apprenticeships and real world um, experience adds a ton of value, right? It adds a ton of value. One thing I would say is when you are going to internships, make sure they're aligned with where you want to go. Let's say, for example, you want to go into the banking industry. Try to find internships that are relevant to that, right? I mean, as you progress in your major, as you're getting towards the graduation year, you already have something in your mind. I want to go take this route or take this path. I want to become a financial analyst or I want to become a TPM somewhere, right? You have certain ideas. Go and approach internships that way. Okay, I'm going to go learn this and then give your 100%. Again, every single thing that you take up, give you 100% when while you're in school, while you're at internship, or while at your work, right? Give you 100%. Learn from people around you. Find a mentor. If you're already at an internship, that's amazing. So in your internship area, go find a mentor. Go find somebody who can actually be your peer and be your guide and can help you grow in that internship. Don't uh, keep yourself in the box. Think out of the box. Think beyond what is given to you. Always do more. Go above and beyond, especially in the internship area, right? What they are seeing is Prasanna going to be doing what I give her and also more? Does she have that curiosity gene? Does she have that passion to go above and beyond? I think that's what that's what I look in my apprentices and internships when I bring somebody on board. It's like, do they have that curiosity gene, or are they just taking prescriptive work and just walking away after that, right? Do they have that curiosity of learning? Do you have the appetite for learning? That's what I'm looking for. So always have appetite for learning, have the curiosity to understand what you're doing and go above and beyond. Find a mentor. Mentors will go a long way. Find a mentor either in your internship, find a mentor either in the group of people you have or somebody you look up to already. Ask them to be your mentor. Lean into them, ask them for opinions, ask them for how you want to take forward your career. I think it'll all help. Internships, hands down, will be a plus and add on when you go for an interview. Like I said, right, when you go for an interview, I have a very few things I can rely on, because if you're a fresh grad, I don't know uh, what to ask or how to rely on you. So internship is one of the pointers that's going to certainly help you get that next job.
Thank you so much for your insights.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Vinita. And my question is about in many interviews, we are asked about where will you look yourself after 5 or 10 years. But the job market is very much dynamic nowadays. And how we need to prepare ourselves for this kind of statements.
That's a good question. No, I'm thinking. Thanks for asking, Lena, because I asked the same to my people when I interview. I ask similar questions. When I ask somebody, where do you see yourself 3 years from now? Is what I'm looking for is you have thought through it, right? We're not asking for we're I don't no one is actually looking for a perfect answer. Think about it, right? What you're looking for is, as an individual, did you think through where you're headed? Did you think through your career? Did you, like I said in my one of my thing, you owe it to yourself to think through it, right? As I'm, if you ask me today, where do I want to be 3 years from now? I have a path in my head, right? I want to be a VP of engineering, or I want to be a CTO of a small company. There is some thought process in your head. So when somebody is asking you, and it's okay to be honest. The other thing a lot of companies are looking for is people being honest. So you can always say, with the evolving technologies around me, my goal is to learn. My goal is to adapt, learn, and do whatever is the need of the hour, right? Lot of companies are actually looking for people who can think on their feet, who can be that person who is the need of the hour person, right? Oh, I need JavaScript to be done today. Do I have somebody? If I jump in and say, oh, I can do JavaScript, it's an easy thing to learn. I'll figure it out, right? That attitude is what they're looking for. So if somebody asks you a question, what do you do 3 years from now? You say, oh, I love technologies. I hope there are new technologies that I can learn and keep growing. Okay. Or you maybe you've already thought through it. If you're somebody like who plans ahead of time, right? You've probably already thought through, oh, this year I'm going to graduate. This next year I'm going to do a apprenticeship at this place. My goal 5 years from now to become a manager, or to become a financial analyst, or to become a program manager, or a product manager, something, right? You have thought through it. So if you have thought through it, say honestly what it is. If you have not thought through it, read your audience. Look at what kind of people you're talking to. Let's say hypothetically you're talking to a technical leader, you cater your answer accordingly. Okay, if you're talking to a high level executive, you cater your answer accordingly. Prepare. Everything boils back to prepare, prepare, prepare. There is nothing that can override preparing. Okay, if you're going to a company, spend that time that needs to you do your research, do the analysis, go to all the websites like LinkedIn, Glassdoor, or anything else that's available in India to do your research, and then go into your interview. Always prepare. If they ask that question, you should be ready with it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Rajita. Ma'am, you talked about DEI. We had a case study regarding it, but the question was, should we have inclusion for the sake of inclusion, just because it is showing us higher results? On what basis should we consider inclusion? For example, if while taking interviews, the HR decides that at least 30% should be from a minority background. Would that really be a reliable parameter, or should it be on basis of some other parameters?
That's a way, Rajita, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks, Rajita. Thanks for asking. These are difficult questions, and these are difficult. It is not black and white answers, right? They are not black and white. It's shades of gray. So I'll answer in multiple folds. Again, it depends on where you are and all of that. From my perspective, again, subjective answers. From my perspective, you never lower the bar. If you lower the bar, you're not getting the right individuals. DEI never says lower the bar. DEI is not about lowering the bar. DEI is about identifying the right people who would have been identified, who are capable of doing the job, but are not really in the job because of various other social circumstances, right? DEI never says lower the bar. If you lower the bar, you're not getting the right people. And if you lower the bar, and if the person comes in there, all of these things, right? They don't deserve the seat at the table. Then they cannot perform, and it runs into other issues, and you cannot be inclusive of them. The equity part, that's where the equity part comes in, right? So the diverse, they'll need, like I said, there are socio-economical differences in people, and you bring in equity says you provide all the tools that they need to go up. So there's a shorter person, there's a taller person. Okay. And you need to look over the wall. What do you do for the shorter person? You put you provide a stepping stool for them. So that's what the equity is. Equity is providing that stepping stool, but it's not saying, so providing, bringing them up, uplifting them is what equity is. But it doesn't, it never says, DEI never says lower the bar. If you are lowering the bar, you're defeating the.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Jayashree. Thank you for sharing your insights regarding about AI. These days, the cybercrime cases all over the country and the world and are increasing too much. So, how can data breach problems can be prevented through AI?
Jayashree, I couldn't hear the question properly. Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
How can the data breach problems can be prevented through AI?
Data breach problems. Okay, that's an interesting question, security question. I don't know if I can I have the right expertise to answer, but I'll try to answer it, right? I think with AI, like I said, actually the data breach problems becomes a little wider with AI, right? When you're using these large language models or you're using some open source, let's say DeepSeek or whatever that's going to come up next, right? If you're using some open source, you have to be very careful, right? Because all of these models are actually trained on data that you're not aware of. It could be personalized, some PII data of somebody's financial data. You could also, so there is something called fine tuning in LLMs. So you can take the off the shelf LLM like ChatGPT or open source like Llama, like Meta's Llama or DeepSeek, you can take and then you can fine tune them. When you fine tune them, you're fine tuning them with your own data. So you got to be very, very careful, right? So that's where I think Mohammed or somebody asked me the question. I mean, how can you stop innovation with AI? It's not stopping. You think about all of this. How many new types of jobs is AI creating? Look at how much of job growth there's going to be with all of these AI boundary tools that one has to create. That's how I see it. So data breach is multifold, right? I think you have to put in the right security measures independent of AI. And then with AI, then you have to create these ethical and responsible AI boundaries, like I said, or tools that will make sure that your personal and financial data is not available for everybody out there in the world. But there is going to be increased awareness, and I don't think we exactly know how the landscape of data breaches or data leaks will be there. I think like it's in its infancy, like generative AI is 4 or 5 years old. We're going to learn a lot more as it evolves, and but there'll be tons of tools that probably pop up. I'm not an expert in this area, but I'm glad you asked the question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Ria, and my question is, how can we use AI to prepare for internship or interview, and is it advisable to depend on it?
It's a very good question. I love AI, so maybe I'm biased a little bit towards AI. I think you should use it as a you should not be handicapped without AI. Let me say that way. I mean, you should use it as a cane to lean on. You should be able to ask it questions in the right way. It's very important to. I mean, that's why prompt engineering has become a big thing, right? I mean, if you guys know, I mean, if you just go around, there's probably big institutes saying, oh, we're going to teach you prompt engineering. Why is prompt engineering so big? Is because the way you ask AI, because it's learning from humongous data sources, the question you ask, how you ask and what you give it is very, very important, right? So let's say hypothetically, I have to write a performance review of my team member. Okay. I cannot ask AI with bullet points and say, oh, write me a performance review. It's going to come up with something that doesn't sound like Jyothi. It doesn't sound authentic, right? I mean, it would sound like AI, some boxed response from somewhere. Versus if I create a prompt such that, oh, you are an empathetic engineering leader, and this is a summary of things that I'm going to write, and I write down every single thing that I want to say to my team member, and then I ask AI to say, can you format this and make sure I'm not coming across a rude manager, and make sure. So you got to create your prompt such that it is a tool. Remember, I said it's a tool. It's not going to replace you and me, right? It is a tool that we have to use. So make sure when you are using, so let's say you said you want to use it in your internship, right? So you could use it for various things. And if you're a programmer, no one is going to say don't use AI tools, right? Using AI tools actually increases the productivity. So I'll give you a good example, right? There's a B tree. You want to understand how B tree works. You ask ChatGPT saying, oh, how do you explain B tree for a first year computer science graduate? ChatGPT is amazing. It'll give you exactly detailed, a much better explanation than any lead code tutorial can do for you, right? So use it to your advantage. Take internship. So you're in an internship and somebody says, oh, just go create a financial report for the last year. What happened with this company? Where was it trending? What is the marketing trend, right? You don't know nothing about marketing trends. Let's say hypothetically. Use ChatGPT or you use any other Gen AI tools to help you support and learn and understand. That's how I would use it as a tool. Use it as it's a tool in your pocket. It's a very powerful tool in your pocket, and use it. Don't hesitate to use it. But don't use it such that you just can't survive without it. You still should be able to manage without it, but use it to your advantage. I hope that answers it.
Yes, thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Saroni. My question is, how do I stand out in an interview if I don't have much work experience?
See, that's a good question. I think most graduate students, most fresh graduate students come to me and they have the same thing, right? Like I said, again, your interviewers also have very few things to go off of when you're a fresh grad. So few things that you can highlight, right? Your motivation. So I don't know how in India it is right now, but let's say, for example, here, if somebody's coming to me and showing as a new grad, I'm looking at, okay, what did you do in your personal projects? Okay, what is it? Just did you go to the business school, or did you take it and try to understand and do something beyond your school, right? That's what I'm looking at. Go just not the grades are important, obviously. Like I said, that's an anchor for me to say, oh, this person has a good grade, so they're dedicated. They have the discipline to go to school every day. They have the discipline to work at it. They have the discipline to push themselves to do this. About that, you need to have in your resume something that makes you stand out. It could be a service that you did outside of your thing. It could be a project that you did. It could be some additional course you did. It could be you can the more you show those skills, the more I know that, oh yeah, this person has that motivation to go do it. And if I bring them on board, they will have this learning appetite, and the learning curve for them for any new thing is less, right? That's what we are looking at. I mean, when we hire fresh graduates, what we are looking at is They can come in, they can take prescriptive work, they have no hesitation, they have no fear to jump right in and learn new things, right? That's what you guys, fresh graduates are the best people to have in a workforce. Trust me. You are the ones who do the most work. You are the ones who are always willing to learn. So every company actually loves getting fresh graduates on board because you're the ones who work a lot more than the established people. So don't hesitate when you go there and say, given opportunity, I'm going to do this. So do your prepare, right? I mean, quote unquote, always prepare. So what to showcase, you can say it saying, okay, given the opportunity, these are the things I can do. And these are the what I have done in the past. So it's very important to um, tell your story the right way. Tell your story the right way to the right audience. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Manisha. My question is, what is the scope of machine learning for MBA students?
That's a good question, Manisha, right?
Yes,
Thanks for asking the question, Manisha. I think a lot of people actually do management MBA along with data analysis or data science or something like that. I think you folks are reading either finance or management or marketing or whatever major you're majoring in within MBA, right? Whatever study you're doing. I think what AI can bring is a ton. What ML can do is a ton because I think finance and marketing are two places where we can do a ton of machine learning, ton of data that is already existing and can determine what future metrics looks like, right? I would strongly recommend when you're doing an MBA to do some additional courses that will actually help you take what you know from MBA and how you can take it and um, make technology work on it, right? For example, I would say if you're doing finance, just go, fraud is one thing, obviously. Anil, like Anil sir said, fraud is one thing. There'll be other things saying, okay, how can become a financial analyst with some support of AI tools, right? There there is no job today, I'll tell you. You do MBA or do you do some other major, there is no job today that doesn't use software, right? You cannot be, everything revolves and uses software. So think about it that way. The niche you can bring is when you are going through your program of MBA, you're thinking with that hat. Okay, what can I do with this? Can I actually programmatically do something, right? Is there a program out there? It's not just AI. Don't confine yourself into the AI boundaries, right? If you look at it as an MBA student, think about if I'm learning about a trend or a pattern, especially finance and marketing, the patterns, right? How behavior, it's more about behavior. So can this behavior be learned and predicted and reproduced the same way? You should be thinking about and beyond and look at tools. Go look. If you're doing a certain chapter in your school, go look it up and say, oh, are there other software products that actually do this? Because there is no, like I said, there is no job when you go out there, there is no job that will not actually involve software. You will have to work on the computer no matter which major you do, right? So always think and explore and do some research. That's what I would say. There's no blanket thing saying, oh, how AI can help. It's just that how your curiosity is going to help you.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I'm Shri. So my question is about DEI. There are only few large MNCs like JP Morgan or Deloitte are including the concept of DEI. Do you think even small firms can adopt it as their level of awareness is very little? Will it be effective for them in future?
That's what I didn't catch your name.
Srinidhi ma'am.
Srinidhi. Thanks for asking, Srinidhi. Uh, I think there's one of the things is how big is your firm is also depends. I think there's a cost associated with DEI, right? There's a cost and speed associated with DEI. I think it also is what kind of workforce you have. So if you take all the Gen Zs or Gen Alphas who are coming in, who are going to come into the workforce, they're going to demand DEI. It's like the awareness is just mind-boggling. How my daughter or how my peers think today, DEI is just different from how our parents thought about DEI, right? So will it eventually come to smaller companies? Again, it depends on how much the size is and how much they're willing to spend and wait and have that patience. But I think it will eventually be forced by the workforce that they have. I as an individual, I as an employee, I am demanding. So to answer your question, whenever I go for an interview, a new interview, I always have questions about DEI to my team. So when the hiring manager that who's going to hire me, I ask them about DEI. I make sure that they have ERGs, which is the employee resource groups that are helping their initiatives, DEI initiatives, because that is important to me. I think eventually we'll get to a place where the workforce is actually demanding it, and no matter big or small companies will probably have to adapt it. But I mean, again, there is a cost associated with DEI, and it depends on every company to company. Again, it's not a blanket thing, but it's an initiative that should happen organically across the industries.
Thank you.
Jyothi, I think we are done, but I got one or two questions myself, and I'll not put you on a hot seat this time. As I know you, Jyothi, you are a great multitasker. Okay, you are able to do a lot of things at the same time. Can you quickly tell our students how that you're able to manage so many things and still not get into a stress level?
Uh, uh, I think it depends. Yeah, I don't want to say I'm unique, but beyond that, I think two things come to mind, maybe more than that. But first thing is, um, be happy, be be content with what you're doing, be happy with the path you have chosen. I think that's very important as you all graduate and choose the path that you're going to take. It's very, very important to be content with the path that you take. I think I talked about being agile, right? Being agile, failing fast, learning from your mistakes and moving forward, right? It's very, very important. It is important in your career. It's important in your life, because you're gonna nothing is going to happen as you planned. It's life. Come on. I mean, it throws wild cards at us and we have to deal with it. The things that I have learned is to be content, is to be happy, and happy with the path I've taken, happy with the decisions I've made, knowing that I'll get to a next junction where again I have to make a decision and I should be again happy with the decision, right? Just be happy, just be content. The second thing is find your tribe. Like I said, it's very, very important not to be an island. Find your tribe. Your tribe could be your partner. Your tribe could be your best friend in school. Your tribe could be your parents. Your tribe could be a online community that you found. It could be anything, but find your tribe. They should uplift you. They should make you happy. I have my tribe. I have my go-tos that I can lean in when I have a trouble. When I'm feeling low, I have my tribe that I can go to. When I'm feeling high, I can have my tribe that I go to. So find your tribe. I think that's what keeps me going. And the third one I will add in there is find what makes you happy? For me, example, dance makes me happy. I go do dance classes twice a week. Zumba makes me happy. I mean, whatever that makes you happy, right? Gardening makes happy for people. I mean, walking. My son loves going and walking by himself. So whatever that avenue of pleasure is for you, find that and make sure you find the time for it in a busy day. Be it a student, be it a mom, be it a parents, be it a teacher. I mean, you all are very busy. Find the time, allocate that time for yourself. You owe it to yourself.
Thank you, Jyoti. One last quick question, quick answer. How do you make your kids, especially your son and daughter, keep away from their mobiles? How do you detox them?
I have a very strict rule. I have a very, very strict rule. No devices when we eat, when we are together as a family. At the dining table, no devices, period. And walk the talk. I always walk the talk. I believe in walking the talk. When I do it, they'll do it. So I don't have devices when I'm with the family. I just off the device.
Jyoti, thank you very much. I know it is late in California,
it's like-
almost 11 now. 11?
It's 11:20. Yeah, it's 11:20.
I
But
think they're all. Thank you very much.
no,
I
thank you.
know
Thank you for the opportunity. I enjoyed all the questions. Thank you for all of those who have asked the questions. I'm more than happy to send some references offline. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jyoti. I know it has been very late. Tomorrow morning is a Monday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are done.